Debbie Broughton, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from St. Robert, Missouri. Hi, Donna. I'm glad that you could join us this evening. I'm going to be demonstrating how to make this card out of one of our new sets, which is called Beauty of Friendship. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Lovely as a Tree, since we lost that set a while ago. And I saw this on Pinterest and I thought, oh, what a great way to make a tree. It's supposed to kind of look like the cherry blossom trees when they bloom, with some bluebirds on the branches there. So I'll wait just a few more minutes to see if some other people can join us. It's a really dreary day here in Missouri. We're getting a little tired of the rain. My grandkids have played their soccer season and almost every game got rained out, and then the makeup games. We ended up playing 6 games on the last day, which was Saturday, just to try to get them all in. As you can tell, I've been stamping today, so my hands are a little inky. Hi, Judy. How are you doing? How's the weather in South Carolina? Okay. My laptop now says it is 6:58, so I just have like 2 more minutes. This is the one of the new sets, Beauty of Friendship, with the trees, and then it also comes with the dies. We're going to be using some of them, but I can just... 73. I think it's 60 something here, but it's just a dreary day, so, and it's been raining most of the day. Here are some of the dies, plus some of the dies we are going to use to make the card are in my basket. But you can see how they kind of match. And then we have some for the words. It's a really nice set. And we're also going to use some of the designer series paper that comes in the bundle. Alright, I'll go ahead and get started. I saw this card on Pinterest, and so I decided to see if I could recreate it, because it just reminded me of once I was in Washington, D.C. with my daughter, who was at a nursing convention, and all the cherry blossom trees were blooming. So it's supposed to kind of look like a cherry blossom tree. 90s next week, Judy? Wow. Okay, so I first started with the Moonlight Mist cardstock, or Misty Moonlight. I get that one confused. And I fold my card base in half. And I will lay it aside. If you happen to look at my video of my grandson, he made his mom a Mother's Day card, and he said, we just have to video this for your YouTube channel. So I posted it today because he's just so excited. Okay, so next we're going to use a lot of the DSP that comes in this bundle for this set. So this is a piece of the DSP. This is the side we're going to use the sky, and this is the other side that looks like you're looking up through the leaves. And then this we're going to use for the grass, and on this side it's different lines of trees, which will make good borders and things for a background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of tear this to give it a kind of an uneven look, so it looks maybe more like grass. Now, I'm just going to give you a hint. If you tear it backwards like this, away from you, the white will be on the piece that you're not going to use, whereas if you tear it towards you, you'll get the white on the front, which you do not want. So I'm just going to kind of tear it. It doesn't really matter how, just a little to give it a little more character than just a straight line. And then I'm going to adhere it down here to the bottom of the sky. My dog got a piece of paper out of the trash, and that's what he's been doing lately, and he is busy tearing it up here behind me, but if I take it away, he'll bark. So we're just going to let him think he's getting away with it right now. It's just an old piece of my grid paper, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm just going to line this up here. Now, I want to be sure that I have some glue on the edge. Okay. Now the next thing, I'm going to use the tree die. I use the little tree die. Let me find, this is the little tree die that I used. And I used this piece of DSP. If you can see, it looks like wood grain. And the other side of this is looks like a forest to me. So either side would make a great backgrounds, but I thought this would be good for the tree trunk. So I used this die and I cut out the tree trunk. Now I want the tree trunk to be about 1.5 inches from the edge, just so I know that I'm not going to run off the card when I add the top of the tree. So I have my ruler here. And so I just kind of want it to be about 1.5. So I'm going to lay, this kind of got bent a little bit in my basket. I'm just going to lay this here at the 1.5 mark, because what I want to do is to stamp a shadow. So if you look here on this stamp set, I'm going to use this one down here, and it's going to be a shadow for the tree to sit upon. And I'm going to use our new color that just came out, Evening Evergreen. It's a really dark green. This is Mossy Meadow, the paper. And I'm just going to put like a shadow down here for the tree to sit on. I'm going to kind of do one there and another one there, and then stamp off here and do one here in the front. Just kind of give it a little texture down there so it doesn't look like the tree's just floating on the grass. Then I'm going to add a little of my liquid glue to the tree trunk and to a little bit of the branches. I don't have to do each branch because when I glue on the cherry blossoms, that will help hold it down. And I'm going to stick that right where my two shadows came together. And I'm going to be sure that it's straight. There we go. So now we have a tree. To make the cherry blossoms, I'm going to use this stamp in Blushing Bride. So I already have that. I just took a little piece of paper. It's like 3 1/4 by 2 3/4 or something, just big enough for the die. Here's what the die looks like. Just big enough for this die to fit on. And I am going to use first the Blushing Bride. Now I'm just going to kind of, I don't want it to be too dark. I want it to be kind of a light. So I'm going to stamp off over here. And I'm going to get my cushion to put on here. And then I'm just going to kind of stamp in different places on here, just to kind of give it all these colors mixed together. And I might get some dark in there, and I might get some light. And it's okay. And I don't even have to be right side up. I could be upside down, because we're just making like a pattern for our cherry blossoms. So I think I need a little bit more up here in this corner. Maybe a little bit more down here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Don't take it off there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some cherries to our cherry blossom tree. So I'm going to use this stamp, which is these little speckles. And I'm going to use our polished pink, which is another new in color that just came out in May. And I'm just going to add some of these in different places randomly. Whenever I try to go randomly, I usually end up in a pattern even when I don't mean to. And some of them I can stamp off to make lighter ones. And while I was doing this earlier, I just did one. When I did this card, I just did one for the thinking of you, so that they would match. So now I'm going to get my mini stamp and emboss machine up here. First I'm going to make a little room. Put down my number 1, my number 2, my paper, and then, of course, I just put that die back in the basket. I should have kept it out because I needed it to cut this top of the tree with. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay, I hope that you can see that. I'm going to move it up here a little bit. So I just kind of position that on the paper so that it fit. And then I'm going to roll it through the machine. It's a tight fit. Okay. Now we're going to take this off, and we're going to peel this piece up. And when I peel it up, a lot of the pieces are going to fall off. And if they don't, I always have my pick-a-tool here. You could buy a brush for your pick-a-tool. Also, that really helps sometimes with these little ones, but there's not really that many, so I'm just going to quickly poke them out with the poker. Be sure that I got them all. So now, didn't that turn out pretty? Just to look just like cherry blossoms, maybe? You can see we did get some of the darker pink in there. Wipe that off. We're going to glue that to the top of our tree. Again, with some liquid adhesive, just because it's easier so you can kind of move it around and get it straight. Whether if you use the stamp and seal, you don't get as much leeway at moving it. So I'm just going to put some glue in the wider spots here. And I'm going to glue that down. have glue on my fingers, so it's going to stick to them a little. Now the next thing I wanted to do was to put 2 bluebirds in the tree, and here they are. I've already cut them out, but I wanted to show you the die that comes with it, because it cuts out both birds at the same time. So you don't have to cut one and try to figure out how to cut them so that they'll be looking at each other, which I think is great because you don't have to go back and cut out a second one. So I've already cut those out. I am going to add some adhesive to them. I'm going to stick them here in the tree because they're just chirping away. This is really a quick card. Okay, then one more step. I'm going to stamp the thinking of you in the evening evergreen. And so there we go. Thinking of you. It shows up pretty good on the Blushing Bride. And then I'm going to say I can cut straight enough just to kind of trim this a little bit because I made it be longer than I needed. Stick this down here. Then I'm going to, let's see if I forgot to refill my stamp and seal, so I'm going to have to use my snail. I'm going to add this piece to this white piece here, just to give it a little border and to make it pop. Okay. I forgot, I didn't have a refill in there. Now I'm thinking that if you want to put an inside to this card, I have some insides already cut. You could stamp this little tree and then put some Blushing Bride on top. So let me get some soft suede for the tree trunk. Here we go. And let me get the tree out. If you have gotten any of the new stamp cases, I'm sorry, my laptop just lost the feed, so then you'll notice that they have the picture down here now. So I'm going to take off the tree trunk. adhere it to a block. I have another block back here. So I can't see your comments or anything anymore because my laptop closed out the website. So I'm just going to kind of put this over here like this. And then I'm going to add my Blushing Bride leaves on the top. As soon as I find the Blushing Bride ink, which couldn't have gotten too far because I just used it. Herbie, sorry. Lately he likes just to get into my Stampin' Up! Trash and take out little pieces of paper and then chew them littler. I'm going to stamp off, so I just get a lighter pink. And I'm just going to kind of put that over it. Then that will kind of just fit in with the front of the card. Well, I hope that you enjoyed seeing some things made with the new in colors and a new set. And I plan this week at some point to make you a card with the new pansy set because that is beautiful. This is the first one I got, so I wanted to start with the tree. And if you have any question or anything, you can comment below and I'll read the comments once I save the video. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye.